Welcome to Global Glimpses, your trusted source for breaking headlines, global insights, and sharp analysis from around the world. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. The US-China trade war has reached a dangerous new phase, threatening to upend the global economy. Washington is considering a staggering 500% tariff on all Chinese imports, a move that could halt the flow of goods and redefine international commerce. Backed by a bipartisan coalition, the Trump administration signals it's willing to endure economic pain to force China's hand. For Americans, this means higher prices on everyday goods, from clothing to electronics, and the risk of empty shelves. The stakes are no longer just about trade deficits. This is a battle for global influence and technological supremacy. The world is watching as the US and China edge closer to a full-blown economic war. The threat of massive tariffs has pushed both nations to a breaking point. The coming weeks will reveal whether this is a high-stakes bluff or the start of an economic conflict that could reshape the world. Washington's aggressive stance isn't just about trade, it's about geopolitics. The tension between the US and China has deep roots, stretching far beyond tariffs and trade deficits. At its core, this is a contest for global influence, with both sides maneuvering for strategic advantage on the world stage. The US accuses China of undermining Western sanctions by buying vast amounts of Russian and Iranian energy, fueling adversaries and funding conflicts. American officials argue that these purchases not only weaken the impact of sanctions, but also provide lifelines to regimes Washington considers hostile. China now buys 60% of Russia's energy exports and 90% of Iran's, providing critical revenue streams. These numbers are staggering, and they highlight just how central China has become to the survival of both Russian and Iranian economies under pressure. US officials claim this trade bankrolls Russia's war in Ukraine and strengthens Iran's regional ambitions. They warn that every barrel of oil China buys is another dollar that can be used to fund military operations or destabilize regions critical to US interests. The White House is building a global coalition, framing the conflict as China versus the world. By rallying allies and partners, Washington hopes to isolate Beijing diplomatically and economically, making it clear that this is not just a bilateral dispute, but a challenge to the international system itself. This isn't just about economics, it's about international security and the global order. The stakes are high, as the outcome could reshape alliances, trade routes, and even the rules that govern global commerce and security. The US sees China's actions as a strategic challenge, not just a business decision. Washington believes that Beijing's growing economic power is being used to shift the balance of power, both regionally and globally. China, for its part, defends its energy trade as normal cooperation and rejects US sanctions as illegitimate. Chinese officials argue that they are simply pursuing their own national interests, and that Washington's demands amount to interference in their sovereign affairs. This fundamental disagreement over sanctions and sovereignty is fueling the escalation. Neither side appears willing to back down, and each new round of accusations only deepens the divide. The US views its sanctions as enforcing international norms. China sees them as an infringement. This clash of perspectives is at the heart of the standoff, making compromise elusive. The result is a feedback loop. Geopolitical tensions drive economic conflict, and vice versa. Each side's actions provoke countermeasures, creating a cycle that is increasingly difficult to break. Both sides are digging in, making compromise increasingly difficult. The diplomatic channels are strained, and trust is in short supply. The world is caught in the crossfire of this escalating standoff. As the rivalry intensifies, global markets, security, and the future of international cooperation all hang in the balance. China holds a powerful card: rare earth elements, the hidden backbone of modern technology. These minerals are essential for everything from smartphones and electric vehicles to advanced medical devices and even the most sophisticated fighter jets. Without them, the world's most critical industries would grind to a halt, making rare earths a strategic resource unlike any other. China produces over 70% of the world's rare earths and controls a staggering 90% of global processing. This dominance didn't happen overnight. It's the result of decades of investment, government support, and a willingness to bear the environmental costs that other nations have avoided. In response to mounting US pressure and ongoing trade disputes, Beijing has imposed strict export controls, threatening to disrupt global supply chains that depend on these minerals for everything from consumer electronics to military hardware. Now, foreign firms must secure government approval to export products containing these minerals, giving China unprecedented leverage over Western industries and putting global manufacturers on edge. The US and its allies are scrambling to rebuild their own supply chains, investing billions in new mining and processing facilities. But experts warn that it will take years, if not decades, to catch up, and the road ahead is fraught with technical and environmental challenges. In the short term, there's simply no substitute for Chinese processing capacity. The world remains deeply reliant on China's expertise and infrastructure. This rare earth threat has become a central bargaining chip in high-stakes negotiations, shaping the tone and outcome of global trade talks. The US threatens tariffs and sanctions. China counters with the potential shutdown of critical supply chains, escalating tensions, and uncertainty in global markets. Both sides risk mutual economic destruction. Each holds a weapon that could devastate the other's economy, with ripple effects felt around the world. The codependency is dangerous and volatile, leaving businesses and governments alike searching for solutions in an increasingly unstable landscape. The rare earth standoff underscores just how high the stakes have become as nations race to secure their technological futures. The world's most advanced industries and the future of global innovation hang in the balance, dependent on a fragile supply chain that could break at any moment. Amid rising tensions, negotiators from the US and China met in Malaysia for last-ditch talks. After 2 days, they announced a substantial framework for de-escalation, offering hope that catastrophic tariffs could be avoided. The framework covers key issues: suspending punitive tariffs, addressing US Section 301 measures, cooperation on fentanyl, and agricultural trade. Crucially, China may defer its rare earth export curbs, a major concession. Both sides recognize the immense damage a full-scale decoupling would cause. For Trump, the deal offers political victory without economic chaos. For Xi, it's a chance to stabilize China's battered economy. The framework lets both leaders save face while stepping back from the brink. But this is only a framework, not a final deal. Past truces have collapsed under political pressure and mistrust. The Malaysia Accord is a temporary ceasefire, not a permanent peace. The world waits to see if this fragile progress can hold. In the narrow, winding waters of the Strait of Malacca, a supertanker loaded with Iranian oil quietly makes its way toward China, its massive hull slicing through the darkness. This vital shipping lane, one of the busiest in the world, is a crossroads for global commerce, and a flashpoint for international tension. Shadowing the tanker, a US Navy destroyer and a high-tech surveillance drone keep a watchful eye, their presence a constant reminder of the stakes at play. This silent standoff is the trade war in microcosm. One nation's illegal sanction busting is another's sovereign trade. Here, the rules of the global order are tested in real time. The US sees the tanker as a lifeline for adversaries, a vessel carrying oil that could fund destabilizing ambitions and undermine American influence. China, on the other hand, views it as legitimate commerce, an essential delivery to fuel its booming economy and maintain energy security. American sailors track the ship's every move, using advanced technology to monitor its course and communications, knowing its cargo funds Iran's ambitions and could shift the balance of power in the region. In Beijing, officials monitor the same tense scene from afar, analyzing satellite feeds and maritime data, instructing the captain to stay the course. The destroyer observes, the drone records, but neither side acts, yet. Each moment is a calculated risk. This is a test of wills, a high-stakes chess match played out on open water, played out in the darkness of the ocean where every decision could have global consequences. The tanker, the destroyer, and the drone symbolize the deep mistrust and opposing worldviews of two superpowers. No shots are fired, but the tension is palpable, hanging in the humid night air as both crews wait for the next move. The fate of the global economy may hinge on whether these ships continue unimpeded, or if a single miscalculation sparks a wider crisis. One wrong move could trigger a crisis that ripples far beyond these waters, affecting markets and governments worldwide. The world holds its breath as the standoff continues, uncertain of what dawn will bring in the Strait of Malacca. Financial markets are the real-time barometer of this conflict, swinging wildly with every headline. The threat of 500% tariffs sent shockwaves through global trading floors. News of a breakthrough in Malaysia triggered a euphoric rally. Crypto and tech stocks soared. Nvidia became the first company to hit a $5 trillion market cap, underscoring the market's faith in a truce. Investors crave stability, but the foundation is fragile. A single tweet or breakdown in talks could send markets tumbling. President Trump's threat of new tariffs looms, adding to the uncertainty. Investors are forced to react to political whispers, not fundamentals. Trillions in value can be created or destroyed by a single headline. The market's wild ride is a stark reminder of the real-world costs of this conflict. While politicians debate, American small and medium-sized businesses are suffering most. Tariffs are a direct tax, squeezing profits and threatening survival. Many have challenged the legality of these duties in the Supreme Court, with a decision pending. Studies estimate Trump's tariffs have already cost U.S. companies over $1 trillion. Family businesses and local manufacturers face impossible choices: absorb costs, raise prices, or find new suppliers. A 500% tariff would be a death sentence for many. The pressure is fueling political backlash and demands for a diplomatic solution. The trade war is dividing the country, pitting geopolitical ambitions against economic reality. The path forward is more complicated than ever. Despite the brinkmanship, diplomacy remains alive. The Malaysia breakthrough is just the latest in a cycle of escalation and fragile truces. Temporary pauses offer relief but rarely solve the core issues. The next deadline looms, adding urgency to negotiations. A summit between Trump and Xi in South Korea could make or break the fragile framework. Success could turn a ceasefire into lasting peace. Failure could trigger full-scale conflict. The stakes are enormous. Personal diplomacy may decide the fate of the global economy. Both leaders must find a way to claim victory at home while compromising abroad. The world is watching, hoping for a breakthrough. The diplomatic tightrope has never been more precarious. As October ends, the global economy stands at a crossroads. One path leads to de-escalation and fragile hope, with both sides finalizing the framework and suspending the most damaging measures. The other path is economic warfare, tariffs, supply chain shocks, and likely recession. China would retaliate with its own arsenal, including a rare Earth's blockade. The choice will be made in days, not months. The core conflict remains: U.S. efforts to curb China's ambitions versus China's drive to protect its interests. The framework offers a way to manage these goals without mutual destruction, but trust is scarce. This is a defining struggle for the 21st century. Will cooperation or competition shape the future? The world is watching, hoping diplomacy prevails.